Hello, this is Kevin Tharp. Today we're going to take a quick look at what I really mean by understanding the web, which is the first sort of section or module of the class that I'm teaching here on web design. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you an illustration of what I mean by some of the concepts within this class. Specifically, I'm talking about form follows function. So I have set up an account at jimdo.com. jimdo.com. This is not an advertisement for them. It just happens to be an easy to use site that provides free web pages. When you get there, you pick a username, you enter your email address, and then you click create a page. They send you an email and you can begin creating your website. There's also a video here, a minute and 30 seconds, where they demonstrate how to use Jimdo. I've already set up my account, and I would encourage you to, if it's not Jimdo, go to some other free website host that'll give you all the tools that you need to create a website and play around with it a little bit. See how easy it is to actually put content into a website when there's a structure around it. But what I've done is I've got .tharp at jimdo or .jimdo.com. That's the site that I've chosen, and I need to log in. Once I get logged in, it provides me with a set of tools, and I'm going to go ahead and close those for now. And I have not used this site yet. I've not done any changing to it, so I'm not familiar with the tools or what exactly they do. So we're going to explore this a little bit. The first thing I want to do is look at how they've laid this site out. As I mouse over this, I see there's a thing that's called Edit Head Section. Now the head section is, it's called different things, header or banner, different names like that. But basically what it's talking about is this upper part of the page. And they give you the ability to quickly modify that. You can upload your own pictures, or you can use one of their pictures. You just click on it and it allows you to change it. If you want to change the title, you can do that too. And there's all kinds of widgets here. I don't know exactly how they work, but it looks like it's fairly simple to use. Some sliders here. Interesting interface, and I'm going to go ahead and leave that at that for now, and I want to look at the rest of this page. So far we've seen this head section. Moving around, I see there's an edit navigation. So there's a set of tools here which represents this information right here, which is the navigation, and that's in what's become commonly known as the global navigation location. It's real common to see websites that have global navigation up here, and this allows me to point to top level navigation, and in some cases second level navigation. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this window and see what's it got going here. Now it's not going to let me actually view that because I'm in the edit mode, but that shows me another significant area, this navigation. So that is an important part of the page. This is yet another area with links. Here we have, they don't give this a name, but you'll notice how it's selecting different areas and highlighting them. Each of those are boxes or blocks that make up part of this page, and it even gives me an option for a print version. So let's go ahead and I want to quit editing this. So how do I quit editing? Right here, there's the view. So I click this view document, it saves my changes, and now I'm able to actually see the navigation and that kind of thing. If I was to click on this, it's got some ready-made pages set up for me, and I could go through and fill out information about those in the same way. What I would do is I would come down to Edit, and then it gives me a box down here where I change the information. For the sake of time, I've gone ahead and changed these. Instead of making you watch me change them, I've made updates to it. So I've changed the text, and I saved that, and you'll notice that the text changes. Now I want to change that picture as well. So I click in here and I look around. I see that there's a place to edit image. So I want to choose a different image for my computer. And let's just find any picture that is available. And I'll just grab that one. I upload my photo. Now I could change the size of it, or I could align it left or right. Just different things. There's a series of widgets here that allow me to do different things. I could go in and link that to somewhere if I wanted to. We're not going to go into a great deal of detail because I'm really just trying to illustrate how this works. So I save that, close it, and now as simple as that, I've created a web page. Now if I go back to my home page, I still need to go in and change this. Now you'll notice that I can come over here and work with the HTML code if I want to do that. So that's a nice feature. I want to change this image. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and use the same image. What I'm wondering is there a place where it links to my other images? No, there's not. So I'm just going to grab that same one again. And I save my changes. So you can go through and whatever you want these to be, so you can change what each of these pictures are. You can change them right here. So it's got a set template of this is basically how your site is going to work. And then within that, as a content author, you go in and you put in the content that you want. There's different things over here. Looking to see what those are. I can change the styles, and that would change. This allows me to change either the font settings, the background pattern, or the background image, or I can change the layout. So if I wanted it to look, say, like this, I select that. I'm sure there's a place. There we go. It changes the setting. Yes, I want to save that setting. You'll notice that it makes it hard to read over here, but that's just a different set of rules that go with it. I'm going to go back to the other layout, or at least to one that is reader friendly. And there's my Jimdo page. Okay, now let's look at a couple of things that are going on here because it'll help us to understand how the web works. I want to go back to view. Now you'll notice that in this new layout, the navigation that was up here in the other layout is now over here. The content is sort of the same. If I go to the About Me, the same thing. My navigation has moved over here, and it allows me to have a consistent look between sites. Now, how does this all work? That's what we're studying in this class. We're not studying how do I put a page on the web. What we're studying is the theory and fundamentals behind how does all this stuff work so that you can then produce it. And what's happened on this Jimdo site is they've done a lot of work to set up the presentation and content. They've separated presentation and content so that just by clicking on a a different layout. You bring a different set of rules in about how they present the content. Now what I want to do is I want to bring in a different browser that will allow us to look at some of what's going on behind the scenes. Now you'll notice I've brought in Firefox. The reason I've done that is because I've got a set of tools called the Web Developers Toolbar. And that is only available in Firefox. And what I want to do is I want to look at this page, but what I want to do is I want to strip off some of what is going on behind the scenes. So I go in and I'm disabling all the styles. The styles are the style sheets, and that's what you'll be doing in the third module, the presentation level. But what you notice is when I strip off the style sheets, or turn off the style sheets in this case using that toolbar, all of my content, the content is still there, but it's all just laid out over here along the left edge. Let's turn them back on so you can see again. I turn them back on, my layout has changed. Now if I go back to my other browser and I change that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the different layouts, and I'm going to try and put it back to that original layout. I believe that's the original layout. Now you'll see, and I'll close this and I'll switch to the view. Yes. Oops, I didn't switch. Didn't give myself time. Yes, I would like to accept the new layout. That's a nice feature that it allowed me to come right back to that. So now I choose view and the navigation's back over here. When I bring my Firefox browser back in and refresh it, then you'll notice that this has changed again. If I get rid of the styles, then you'll notice once again the content flows down the left side of the page. So there's something going on here that allows me to make little changes somewhere that really don't affect what is in the page itself. It only affects the way that we see that. Now that is the whole fundamental theory behind the separation of content and presentation. There are different documents that control what is actually in here versus how it is presented. And the way that we do that is with style sheets. When we go into our edit view, going back to my original browser, when I come up here, really when I interact with any of these things, what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, let's apply a different set of rules in the form of a style sheet. And so by doing that, by selecting that, what I'm really doing is I'm not changing the content of the page at all. What I'm doing is I'm changing a location in this document that says where to find the rules for how to present this information. And whichever set of rules you use, if you turn those rules off by disabling the styles, the content is going to be the same. Okay, and when we look at this, here's within the page is the header part, or the head part. Here is the body part. Here is the navigation part. And then here's some of the other stuff that was in there. And again, using this toolbar, I come up and what I want to do is I want to display the block size. Because as I was saying a couple of minutes ago, all of these components are essentially blocks that make up the web page, and then you use the cascading style sheets in order to control how those blocks are presented. But if you look up here, this red block is it's called a motion header, and you'll see this little tag here called div. Div is the command in HTML, div. It means division, and what that is the command in HTML, which is the language that is used to write the structure of documents that are viewed on the page. Div is that item that establishes a box or a block, and you'll be using that extensively in this class. When I come down to this one, now this one there's just a single block. When I come to this one, you'll see that I have a large box or a large block, and within it I've got smaller blocks. So this content's in a block, this content is in a block, and so you've got these different divs that are put together. That's called nesting divs. When you put a box or a block inside of another one, it's called nesting. It's kind of like when you have a table inside of a table, if you're familiar with using tables. Here's another box, here's another box, and this again is a nested box. The thing about these nested boxes is that when something is in a box, that content is always moved as a whole. Now I can move stuff around within. For instance, in this case, I've got a box that contains a series of boxes. It gets kind of complicated here, but if I tell this larger box where to go, everything that's in it goes with it. So that's, you sort of think of it as like if you're moving in or out of your dorm or your apartment or whatever, and you're starting to pack things, and you've got a little box that contains your CDs, and then you put that inside of a larger box that contains your stereo system. Well, when you pick up that stereo system box, it's also going to move the CD boxes. However, you can relocate the CD box. So you had CD box, and then you had a DVD box where your movies were at, and you wanted to put those in different places within the stereo box. You could move those independently within that larger stereo box, but when you move that stereo box, then everything, the CDs and the DVDs, go with the stereo box. And let's look at how that plays out in webs, because it really is the same concept. Now you'll see, okay, here is that first box again. Here is that box that had the My Gemdo page. Here is the navigation box and the stuff that goes with it. And then here's that other box that had all that other information, those series of boxes. They've all been told where to go, but they're still in this larger box. And this will come clearer to you as you go forward. But what's important to take out of this at this point is that this page, or any web page, is simply made up of a series of boxes. And that's an important concept to understand, because that is the tool that allows you to position information or groups of information within a page when you start applying style sheets. Okay, what I would encourage you to do is to go to Gemdo, and or you can go to any other thing. This is not an advertisement for Gemdo, but Gemdo is one that's pretty sophisticated in how easy it makes it for you to develop a web page. And go in there, develop a basic web page, spend a half hour and create a website and get an understanding of what it's like to be a content author when you're not having to deal with the coding of the design or how to do the presentation, that kind of stuff, because we'll be looking at that later on. To summarize, this class is not about how do I create a web page or how do I put information on the web. This class is about what is the fundamental principles that go behind web pages, and that there are really three key areas. There's the structure, there's the content, which is part of the structure, and there's structure within the content. Then there's the presentation, which talks about how do you actually present that information on the page. And you'll notice that when I come down to this page, there is a thing where it says print version. When I click on that, it sends it to the printer. What that does is applies yet another set of style rules that allow this to go to a printer and not bring the things that it shouldn't be doing. But there's different styles, but what you need to do is understand that there is a difference. And as we work through the assignments and the exercises in this class, you will work separately. At one point in time, you'll be dealing with the content, which is assignments 2 through 4, and then the last assignments deal with the presentation. The first assignment actually deals with sort of a plan of what is it that I want to put in my page, and what do I want my page to be about. Not just my page, but my website. So what you need to do is you need to think of what is something that I would like to create a series of web pages about. And we'll talk about directories and files and all that because you'll need to understand how that works. But for now, that completes this first intro, so that I hope you have a better understanding of what we're going to be dealing with in this class. And if you have any questions about this, let me know.